Hello. Can we just quickly do a little sound check? Can you hear me fine? Fantastic. Right. Yep. Okay. Cool. Right. Just to very quickly give you an idea of who I am, as it says there that I'm a personal development expert. That's a very general definition. I run personal development workshops and accelerator groups in companies, and I have my own company. I employ approximately 25 people, and I'm the boss and the owner, and I do all the hiring and firing myself. I've been doing this for 25 years. I've hired a lot of people. I haven't fired a lot of people, but I've fired a few. And so today, what I want to do is basically go over what's obvious, but some of the things that aren't so obvious as far as keeping your job goes once you have it. Now, I don't pretend to know everything that there is about employment here in Spain. And I'm sure that each one of you already has an idea of how to keep your job once you have it. It's not a secret. Some of the things are really obvious. Can you anybody give me a few ideas or recommendations how to keep your job? Yes?
I would first maybe not try to... Oh, sorry. Can you all hear me?
So you tell me and I'll announce it to everybody else.
Does it work?
Yeah.
Now it works. Yeah, thank you. I would say not immediately try to change everything, but like the first couple of weeks or something, try to get the mood of the company and of the firm and just try to incorporate yourself, and then later you can maybe try to adapt something, or like, yeah. So not just be the new guy in the room and then immediately say, what about this, what about that? So
Okay.
like to get a feeling.
Adapt and fit in. Yep, good. I like that. That's great.
You can still change something later, but like not be the new guy like the first day, your first day of work, and you have a meeting, and then suddenly you're like, what about this? What about that?
Okay.
We can change everything.
I'm sorry, I'd love to hear more, but
Yeah.
otherwise we'll just swap places. Yeah. Okay. Anybody else? Any suggestions or ideas for keeping your job once you have it? Yes.
I would say that first, to make sure to understand your job deeply, like make a lot of questions, so you can make sure what is the way you can work in.
Right. Understand your job and ask questions. I like that. Very concise. Lovely. Right. Anybody else? It's a free-for-all. No? Yes? No? Well, we'll move on, because I have a short list here of things which I feel are important for keeping your job once you have it. In no particular order, we've got having a positive attitude, being reliable, doing what you say, building relationships. It's a very general definition there, what we mean by building relationships, but anyway, right? Being a good listener, which I think accounts for both of what you were saying. Look after yourself. What I mean by look after yourself is not getting burnout. Burnout is a major problem. This can be very stressful, right? Taking the initiative. And grow and stay relevant. Now, I would like to think that most of these are obvious. Any of these surprising? No, of course not. And the first 6 here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, most people are very good at doing. Most people are very good at doing these 6 things when they start a job and when they want to fit in and understand what's happening. Number 7 is different. Number 7, growing and staying relevant, is not obvious. We think it is, but actually most of the people in my company that I have had to say goodbye to are people that are not able to grow and stay relevant in their company. A very simple example, about 5 months ago, I had to say goodbye to one of the employees in my company because when we took her on, her English, because my company, we work predominantly in English, her English was borderline. It was borderline. It was okay, but it was borderline. And we said to her, to continue, you need to improve your English. And so she made an effort to improve her English just to get past her period of what I say, periodo de prueba. Yeah. In fact, I'm not sure. Does everybody here speak Spanish? No. You speak Spanish? You speak Spanish. Es que podría hacerlo esto en castellano. De verdad, yo no sé por qué lo estoy haciendo en inglés. Porque es que me han dicho, lo estás haciendo en inglés. Puedo hacerlo en castellano. ¿Quién prefiere que haga esto en castellano? ¿Quién prefiere que lo haga en inglés? Okay, I'm sorry, the English went. But I could do it in Spanglish, si queréis, okay? I can do it 50-50. So we got to the periodo de prueba, a 3-month period. And after that, she stopped. She stopped making an effort to improve her English. So after 9 months, she wasn't there. And I had to say goodbye to her because she didn't grow and stay relevant in the company. Now, in my experience, most people do not know the best way to grow and stay relevant. Most people do not know how to learn and develop in a company. And the reason why at school, the education system that we have, if we say the reason for education is to prepare students to be successful in the real world, then education is not fit for purpose. We are teaching students to do tests, and we are not teaching students to develop as human beings. And so, what I want to do today in the 20 minutes that we have is help you to maybe change your strategy to how you learn and grow in your job or in your life. You can do this professionally, you can do this privately. It's your choice. All right. And my objective, you're here today at Job Madrid to learn some new stuff, maybe. And so my objective is to help triple the value you get from attending today. Is that okay? Is that interesting? I think so. So, the best way to do this is to give you an example of one of my success stories, a guy called Rodrigo, and the way that I helped him to not only keep his job, but to be very successful at it, right? Because Rodrigo participated in one of my development workshops. And Rodrigo, he's a real character. He's got long blonde hair, a very stylish rock star beard, and very charismatic guy, very charismatic. But when I met him, he wasn't charismatic. He was looking very worried. And I said to him, Rodrigo, ¿qué te pasa? And he said to me, oh, muchos problemas, big problems. He says, I am a sales trainee. I'm a sales trainee. 2 months ago, I joined a startup company. There's 3 of us, 3 trainees. The job is difficult. The job is challenging. The other 2 trainees, they're getting better. He says, but me, no. I am a big disaster. Big problems. And I said, okay. You say that you're a sales trainee. What sort of training are you doing? And he said, well, on the first 2 days, we had a trainer come in, and the trainer went through all the different things that we need to do to be a salesperson. And then we were told to watch some videos. And then somebody recommended a book. And the rest, we are expected to learn on the job, to learn while we are working. And I said, aha, that sounds to me like you have been attending a lot of tea ceremonies. And he said, what? I said, tea ceremonies. He said, I don't drink tea. I take coffee. And I said, yeah, no. Tea ceremonies. A tea ceremony is a type of activity that we do when we want to learn something. Very simple. T-E-A. T. You turn up at the ceremony. E. There's an expert. And A. The expert makes you aware of new ideas, new information, experiences, whatever. And at the end of the ceremony, somebody, like our wonderful Laura, might say something like, that was fantastic, we have learnt a lot. And when that happens, what I want to do is to get a little flag and say, no. Tea ceremonies are not learning. Tea ceremonies are not learning experiences. Why not? You might think, no, it is a learning experience. I say, no, it's not. When you turn up today, you probably don't have a clear idea of what you are expected to learn. What specifically are you going to change as a result of having experienced the event? Did any of you attend a previous talk? None of you have attended a previous talk here. You have. So, for instance, do you have clear what you are going to do differently tomorrow as a result of attending the previous talk? No? Okay. No, it's okay. It's good. If you do, that's fantastic. Because a lot of people have a general idea, but they don't have a specific plan of what they're going to do. The expert on stage will have a lot of knowledge, a lot of experience, but what the expert does not have at all is a clear idea of where each individual person in the audience is with their development, what they need to progress for the next step. I have no idea who you are. I don't know if you're already development experts or whether you're just leaving school or if you're already in a job. I have no idea. I'm sorry. I should have contacted you by email beforehand. And then aware. Awareness, well, does anybody here know the name Benjamin Bloom? Benjamin Bloom? That's okay. Benjamin Bloom was an expert on cognitive development. And he has, if you look him up on Wikipedia, he has the Bloom hierarchy of learning. And the Bloom hierarchy at the very top is mastery, is when you are a guru of your particular speciality. You are the world leader. And then it goes down and down and down until eventually at the bottom, you get basic understanding. And the very, very bottom is remembering. Remembering. Awareness is not the same as remembering. If you like, check it. Get your mobile phone out and set, well, not now. Get your phone out afterwards and put a reminder tomorrow. Set an alarm for 24 hours. And when it goes off, without looking at your apuntes, your apuntations, should I say in English, try and remember everything that you've experienced today at Job Madrid. You will be doing well if you can remember more than 20%. And in 1 month's time, if you do it at the end of November, you will probably have forgotten everything. Try it. Awareness is not learning. This is not a learning activity. Coming to Job Madrid is not a learning activity. It's a potential learning activity. So, if you want to grow, if you want to develop, if you want to keep your job, you have to know how to learn as much as you can in your job. And in order to do that, you need to have 3 ingredients. 3 key ingredients for learning. And from now on, I want you, every time that you go to a talk, every time that you go to a conference, every time you read a book or a training session, I would like you to check, do you have these 3 key learning points? The first one is a plan. After your session, after the conference, after reading the book, do you have a clear idea of how to take those ideas and apply them? What is your strategy? Right. Second one is pressure. Having a plan is one thing. Carrying out the plan is a different thing. How many of you have made a New Year's resolution before? How do you say New Year's resolution in Spanish? ¿Qué? Buen propósito. Nuevo propósito, right. Okay. How many of you have completely failed to carry out your buena propósito? Yeah. Why? You had a plan. You had the plan, but you didn't have the pressure. There was no pressure to carry it out. And then third thing is evaluation. Every so often, you need to check to see if you are genuinely making progress. I mentioned the lady that I had to fire 6 months ago. She didn't keep a check on her own evaluation. If she had done, she could see that she wasn't getting any better. So, plan, pressure, evaluation. If these 3 things are clear in any talk, in any book, any video that you watch, then that is a potentially strong learning experience. But if it's not, then you are not growing, you are not developing, and you're not going to impress the people that you work with. So, to try and make it clear what I'm talking about, I could finish here. I could say, right, there we are. That's the content. Thank you very much. Goodbye. And if I did that, if I said goodbye here, then today is a tea ceremony. Because I'm not giving you a plan, I'm not giving you any pressure, and I'm not demonstrating any evaluation. So let's change this time that we have together, and in 10 minutes, see if we can make it into a real learning experience. Okay? Right. So, your challenge is to create your own mini learning accelerator for today, or if you already have a job, for your job that you're moving into, right? And if there's one of these slides that you need to take a photo of or write down, then this is the most important one. There's 5 points, okay? 5 points. The first one is to get a friend, to buddy up, as the Americans say. You need to team up with one person. And this is really good news. Anybody here young, free, and single? Yeah? Okay, right. So, I'm giving you clear instructions to find somebody here today that you like the look of and say to them, look, I've just been to this talk by this personal development expert, and he has told me to find a partner. Would you like to triple the amount of benefit you're going to get from this conference by working together with me? Okay? And there you go. That's your presentation. Right? Right. So, team up with one person. Can you think of one person that you can connect with? Yeah? Right. It could, if you like, it could be 2 people, maximum 3. But 1 or 2, great. All right. Now, once you've got that person, that's the point when you make a plan. So, at the end of this conference, before you go and have a coffee, go to the coffee truck, have a coffee, go and sit down, and for 30 minutes, explain to your partner, to your buddy, what were the most important points from this conference today, and what are you going to do in the next few days to make sure that you take advantage of that. And you tell it to them. Now, why is that important? Why is it important that you have to explain it to somebody else? Right. Have you ever had the experience that you thought that you understood something, but when you came to explain it to somebody else, you realized that you didn't understand it very well? Yeah? That is called vocalization learning. When you explain something to somebody else, all the things that happen in your brain is part of the learning process. And it's a really good way of learning. So, you explain to your buddy what you're going to do. That's step 2. And then step 3 is your job then is to help your friend, help your buddy to carry out their plan. You provide the motivation or the pressure for your partner, and they provide the motivation and pressure for you. This could be just like sending them a WhatsApp every day. Good morning. Remember, you've got to practice your English, or you've got to improve, you've got to focus on your leadership skills today. It could be giving encouragement. It could be giving accountability, whatever. But the idea is that your job is to help them carry out their plan. Right. Now, step 4 is to evaluate. If you have found somebody special here at the conference to work together with, you then, after 1 week, next Thursday, you have another coffee with them, or a beer, or a romantic dinner, or whatever. And your job at that meeting is to say, right, my plan was to do A, B, C, D. And we've helped each other. Now, how did it go? Has it been a success? Did you do what you said you were going to do? Or did you do a bit of procrastination? And if you did a bit of procrastination, why? What do you need to change to do what you said you were going to do? Right? Then, the last step is to repeat for 3 more weeks. And now you can take your photo. Right. Same buddy, maybe a slightly different plan, putting the pressure on, evaluating, and repeating. And I promise you, if you do this today, starting this afternoon, then in 4 weeks' time, at the end of November, if somebody asks you, Job Madrid, was it good? What did you get out of it? And you will be able to say, I did this networking, I started to do this, I've been practicing that, I've improved this, etc. And you will have gone up the scale. If you don't do it, which is your choice, at the end of November, if somebody asks you, Job Madrid, what did you get out of it? Your answer will be, Job Madrid. Yeah, not a lot. Not a lot. Because after 1 month, you'll have forgotten, you'll have been distracted, and you'll be occupied with other things. All the potential learning, all the potential growth and improvement, you will have missed that opportunity. Right? Now, how are we doing for time, Laura?
8 minutes.
Still have 8 minutes, right, great. So, as far as I'm concerned, in the 10 years, llevo 10 años haciendo esto, y para mí es la cosa más importante que podemos estar haciendo cada día, cada semana, cada mes, durante el año, para desarrollar en la manera que elegimos. It's the most important thing that we can be doing. This goes before everything else. If you want to improve your leadership, your liderazgo, then you start with this. If you want to improve your job searching abilities, you can start with this. If you want to improve your presentation skills, or your English, or your Swahili, or whatever it is that you're learning, you start with this. And I promise you, you will not improve by a factor of 3. You will improve by a factor of 5, 7, 10 times more. Excuse me, I've just got an alarm off. That's an alarm to say I have to pick my son up from school. I hope his mum's got it. dear. Should have turned that off. Right. Thank you. Sorry. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. Right. But this is where you start. Now, what I do in my job is I go into companies and I help companies organize these groups. Small groups of 4 people, usually company directors, team leaders, executives, and they focus on what they want to improve, and they take the ownership, the responsibility for improving. And over a period of 6 months, what they achieve is usually amazing. But that's me as a facilitator. There is no reason why you can't do this yourselves. It's not rocket science. So I'm going to shut up, and I'm going to give the opportunity. Anybody here like to share any experience or have any questions about what we've just said? Laura is here with the microphone.
Any question?
In English or in Castellano? In Spanish.
Aprovechad que está él aquí para preguntarle cualquier duda. ¿Es verdad esa oportunidad?
Or I could ask, is there anything that you disagree with? Is there anything that you think doesn't sound right?
Podéis decirlo en español, ¿eh? Si la cosa es no hablar inglés, no hace falta. Lo podéis decir en español, que él entiende perfectamente. ¿Algo con lo que no estéis de acuerdo?
Hola, gracias. Yo tengo dudas sobre formas de mantener la presión que decías. Porque está bien saber que hay que mantener la presión, pero ¿cómo lo haces? ¿Simplemente mandando mensajes por la mañana?
No. The pressure is something that you and your partner decide. If sending messages is enough, then fine. If you say you are going to set fire to their car at the end of the week if they don't participate, fine. It's your job. Whatever the two of you decide, yeah? There's no one answer. It depends. But the idea is that you put pressure on them. Psychological, physical, financial, sexual, whatever. It depends on you, right? Depends on you, right? But good question, thank you.
¿Había otra pregunta por ahí? Antes, sí.
Hi. Could you give us an example? An example of that.
An example of that. Ah, sorry, right. I forgot about Rodrigo. Yes, I'll give you an example. Right.
Thank you.
So, remember Rodrigo? Right, I've skipped a bit, so thank you. What we did with Rodrigo is Rodrigo in the group, because there was a group of 4 people, the first thing that he did is that he looked at his problems with being a salesperson, and he identified what his own personal problems were. Why was the training not working? And with Rodrigo, a trainee salesperson, he was extremely introvert. Extremely introvert. He was charismatic, but he was an introvert. And so what we did is that we got him to develop his own plan with micro objectives for each morning at work. He said, right, I'm not going to follow the normal plan. I'm going to set up my own goals, my own micro goals, and I'm going to make sure that I carry them out each day. And the group, basically the pressure on him was that each day at 12 o'clock, he would put in the WhatsApp group how many of his micro goals he had achieved. That's all. That's the only pressure. And the rest in the group would give him a high five and the WhatsApp and say, well done, Rodrigo, fantastic. He did that for 2 months. 2 months focusing on the very small little increments. And after 2 months, not only had he risen to the level of the other 2 people, he'd actually overtaken them. His results were better, a little bit better, but better than the other 2. And after 4 months, after 4 months of doing this, Rodrigo had been promoted to being the leader of the team of 3 people. He'd gone from almost 0 to being the best. Now, if Rodrigo had continued to follow the instructions which weren't personalized for him, then quite honestly, he would be out of a job. He would not be a salesperson anymore. He would be looking for a new job. But because of applying this system, he managed to grow, he managed to improve, and he managed to not only keep his job, but to succeed in it. I've got lots of examples, actually, I could tell you. I've got another one. Do we have time for another example? Another one of my favorites was a lady called Carmen. Carmen was she still is, a senior director in an international company. And when she got the position of being senior director, one of her responsibilities was to give a presentation online in English every month to the international team. But when she started her position as international director, as the director of the Spanish group, she felt that her English wasn't quite good enough. She would make lots of mistakes. She didn't want to embarrass herself. And so she delegated the responsibility of giving the presentation to somebody else. And she joined a language academy, an Academia de Idiomas, to improve her English. And she said, right, for 1 year, after 1 year, I will give my presentations in English. After 1 year, her English still wasn't good enough. So she did it for another year. After 2 years, her English wasn't good enough. After 3 years, after 4 years, her English still wasn't good enough. After 4 years is when she came to see me. And what we did is that we looked at what the problem was. We readdressed the plan. And the problem was not her English. The problem was her ability to give presentations in English. Her English was fine. It was not perfect, but it was okay. And so what she did is she evaluated her situation and said, right, I'm not going to a language academy. I'm going to practice giving presentations in English. And every week she gave a practice presentation in English on Zoom, blah, 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 blah. And it was really embarrassing for her. Fine, it was really embarrassing, but she did it. After 2 months, 2 months of practicing giving presentations in English, she was able to give her first presentation in English internationally to the whole company. And after 3 months, she was enjoying it. And she didn't understand why it had taken her 4 years to do this. right? Again, it's just an example of making a plan, carrying out the pressure, evaluating your progress, and then repeating, okay? So this methodology can make big differences to people that are trying to grow and develop in their job. Okay. But good question. Thank you.
¿Alguna otra pregunta?
¿Cuáles crees que serían las claves para soportar la frustración de no conseguir el objetivo a la primera?
Varias cosas aquí. La primera es aceptarlo. Si yo podría explicarte, I've gone into Spanish, but anyway, okay. If I explained, if you want to learn tennis, you play tennis? No, good. So if you wanted to learn tennis, and I could say to you, okay, to be a good tennis player, you've got your grip, you've got your feet, you've got your backhand, you've got your serve. I could give you the explanation, but the probability that you're going to go and be a super tennis player on the first time? No, it's not happening. You are going to make a disaster. And that's fantastic. That's part of learning. The learning is failing and failing and getting it wrong until you get it right. You know, if you wanted to juggle, you give you three balls and you are going to drop the balls many times. So failing is part of the learning process. And maybe if it's a problem, what you need is motivation. You need people to say, come on, venga. Yeah? You can do it. You can do it. Go for it. Yeah? And so, okay. And you try again, and you try again, until eventually you become a fantastic leader or designer or programmer or salesperson or whatever. Okay?